This video is going to be a tour of my DJ room where I do most of the mixing and recording. I've got other rooms in this house that have records, but they're mostly LPs, and there's a lot of other DJ records that I've put there that I've not got quite round to organising. But I'll give you a tour of the room and talk about various things and how it's grown over the years and what sort of organisation I do. So that's my basic setup with the turntables. Two turntables, Stanton straight 150s. I think I've had these since they very first come out. These are the Mark 1s. My recent addition to these is Ortophon styluses and head shells. These are the S120s. These are probably the best styluses that I've ever used. The tracking is fantastic, and I like this type that has the head shell separate. I don't really like the full Concords, because they have really cheap plasticky levers. But I believe there's new Ortophons out now, but they don't make these. This is the OM type. They only make the full Concord. But I've got four sets of these and a couple of spares, because I've actually got four of these Stanton straight 150s. But I used to have four set up in here, but they made the room quite small, and as the record collection grew, having this unit out here was just not practical. As you can see, this was used as a bedroom, or my bedroom, when I was a child, so it's still got all the original chest of drawers and wardrobe, which are probably about 30 years old now. And as you can see, they're quite small cupboards. Anyway, Hi-Fi Technics sound system, I've built this up over the years. Tuner, amplifier, CD separate, cassette deck, which I record to mostly, and the mini disc player. You can also record to this as well. Sound quality is quite nice out of it. This is the MD150, this is the top of the range Technics one. I also have a really nice, it's round the wrong way, Newmark turntable, a portable turntable, which I use mostly for taking to some record shops. Even though the record shops have turntables there, it's easier just to bring your own one and put it closer to where you're record hunting. But these are really nice turntables. This is a scratch model, so it's got the little crossfader. Let's try and get the lid closed. One minute, I'll put the camera down. Okay, other equipment I use while mixing is this Roland voice transformer. It's got really nice robot sounds and reverb, all different sounds. You can change your pitch and how much the balance between how much the effect adds to your voice or not. And also converted a CB radio mic to work with it, because it's got an on-off switch for the mic, which is really handy. Otherwise the sound would just continuously go through. I mean, you could use the mic on and off, but it's a bit impractical when you're in the middle of a mix having to press even more buttons, where if you have this, you can just leave everything as normal, and when you want to speak you just press and then let go. Up here, got more synthesizers, drum machines, mixers, mostly the Ira range stuff, and that's the sampler, which is the Korg Electribe sampler, the SD version. That's really nice. Got some older things here. That's the Roland or Boss DR202, which is really nice machine. There's the Boss SP303, is it, in here? Yeah, it's a really nice sampler. It's the bigger brother to the SP202, which is a match to this, but it uses smart media cards, which are quite awkward to get hold of now, but I've managed to keep quite a few of them. So I occasionally use that drum machine. It's in the box, so it's not quick access, and there's various other Volcas in here, the Volca sample, the Volca Beats. What's this? I think that's one of the new, either the Chaos Slayer or the Chaos Pad. I've got the original Chaos Slayer there. I think that one's actually much better than the new one. The new one, I don't know, it just isn't as good. The touchpad isn't as big. Where the original one's quite nice. Also, there's a Korg Monotron. Monotron or Monotribe. It's the one with the delay effect on it. Again, it's quite a good device, but mostly just as an effects unit. You're not going to make any full songs on that. Also, here's a nice Technics mixer. I actually found this in a second-hand shop for £25, and it's in phenomenal condition. Some of the knobs are, the paint's coming off the top, but they still come with original replacement faders inside the box. I'm not sure if everybody knows about that. They've been inside there, that Technics put replacement parts in it, but they're still in there unused, and the faders are still excellent condition. I occasionally take it out for a spin because the EQs are really unique on it. It's more like a filter. It's got a high and a top, a high and a bass, and when you twist them the opposite directions, get a really nice filter sound on it. You do really nice EQ sweeps with it. I'll move on to my record collection and how it's evolved over the years. I'm continuously going through my records, just sometimes take odd ones out and seeing if I can find a new home for them. Genres like this, old school house, which are quite varied, I tend to break these up into different BPMs, so they're much easier to find. So these have all been organised just recently. Actually, I've not catalogued these yet. I catalogue all my records on Discogs, not to sell but to organise, because I've got so many records that I lose track of where they are, and there's probably the same amount again that's in this room, in another room up the stairs, that I've just not got around to organising. So I don't really know what I've got sometimes. If I go to a shop and I see a record, if I'm not sure if I've got it or not, I can just check on my phone on Discogs, and I've probably catalogued maybe just under 2,000 records, and also I store them in folders on Discogs, so it actually tells me where a record is. So if I search, say, Jeff Mills, and I look at the particular records I've got of Jeff Mills, it'll tell me the actual section in my collection where it is. So I think I've got a Jeff Mills record in here, or maybe it's in the house box. But if I looked on Discogs, it would actually tell me exactly where it is in my collection. It would say Old School House and the tempo range it's in, which is a very good feature when you've got this amount of records. When I add new records to my collection, they tend to get put down here, and then I'll either mark them up. These have all been second-hand ones, so I'll put labels on them if it's just a black cover and telling what genre it is, and if it's not got a normal black cover, I just put these little post-it notes saying what it is, so I get used to them. And then I'll leave them down here once I've played them lots of times. You see I've got lots of records down here, and I'll see where I've bought them from and the date. If I want to make a mix, I can write in the mix what it is. I tend to leave them down here until I've made a mix out of them and I've got used to them. Then I'll put them into the associated genres beside the other records. But because I've got so much, and I buy so many still buy so many records, I need to label up what they are, otherwise I forget, because I'm actually not in Scotland that much. I work at sea, and in my holiday time I spend most of my time in Spain, so I can be in a situation where I've bought a lot of records and I don't have the time to actually organise it. I also rotate these records based on how often I play them. I've got a lot of UK hardcore and I don't know what you'd call it, sort of breakbeat hardcore, UK hardcore. It's not original happy hardcore stuff here, I call it alternative UK hardcore. I've put this at the back of the pile because I've not touched that in years, and if it used to be trance things that was up there for a while, and I found myself playing the trance more than the hardcore, so I swapped them about. I also occasionally rotate the boxes around just to change it up. So I've got, if I want to work on a section, try and organise it, I'll put it in a really accessible place. So this house box, which is older house, like disco house, old school house, I moved this box to here so I could get easy access to more organise it. I've also got the wall racks. I tend to use these for genres that only have a couple of records in, because in each section of these you can only really fit maybe 10 records tops. So as each genre grows a little bit, when it outgrows the basket space, I'll move it into a box. And on this side, these have all been records that I've purchased from shops, and I've just organised them into this basket and not got around to actually either not playing them or putting them into another basket. I keep them, this side here is mostly for records I've recently bought, and they're quick, easy access, so I can learn them, mark them up. And also I've got an area here called the hospital, which is records that are either got a problem with them that I need to fix, like it skips at a point, I'll just go back round with a little scalpel and cut the track in. Or some have got paint on it. That was a badly bowled one that needs to go in the oven. This one shouldn't really be in here. I've marked up it's not in Discogs, but I've probably put it in there with the intention of adding it to Discogs. And this is the orphanage here. This is records that have lost a home, or homes without a record. So as I find odd records or odd sleeves, they go into this section, the orphanage. I've also got another orphanage in another room that's probably about 30 sleeves. It's just been from collections I've bought off people, and they're pretty careless with putting the records back in their sleeves. We've got some cassettes here. These are mix cassettes that I've done. I like to catalogue all the mixes. I date them and say a little bit about it. And I record these to MP3 so I can listen to them on the go, because I'm travelling around a lot, carrying a cassette player and a bunch of cassettes. It's not really practical. I could record them straight to MP3, but I prefer the actual sound quality of cassette, and as I've explained in another video, there's a start and an end, a definite end to these. And also you're adding something physical to your collection, which is quite nice. Modifications to the stereo. This amplifier I've had for maybe probably close to 20 years anyway. I've blown it a few times, it's been repaired, and as you can probably hear, I've installed a fan to it because it gets crazy hot. The type of amplifier it is, it's a Class A amplifier, so it gets extremely hot. I play music extremely loud, so the amplifier goes crazy hot, and I've always been worried about it doing damage, so I installed a fan into it here, so it just automatically comes on when I switch on the amplifier. It's basically got an AC to DC rectifier, the type you get for LED lights. It's just a 12 volt PC fan for your cases that I salvaged another case, and I put the transformer inside here. I just wired it to the switching circuit. The cassette deck, it's been fully overhauled. This is a fairly recent purchase. I probably bought it about 5 or 6 years ago. It's not a new cassette. It's actually newer than the amplifier, age-wise, but it's actually a relatively modern cassette deck, and it's really nice. But I've changed the heads, not the heads, the pinch rollers. I've cleaned all the cap stands. The heads have been cleaned, and I've demagnetized it. This is a fantastic cassette deck. This mini disc player I bought with a damaged rotary knob, well, an endless rotary encoder I should say. This has been taken apart, and the track's all cleaned inside the encoder now. It works fine. What else? What are the modifications? Turntables, these are been relatively standard. I've never actually taken these apart. It's one of the few electronic devices that I've not taken apart. The speakers they're not great speakers, these are just LTAC speakers, but the acoustics in the room are really good and they're on foam pads. I've been tempted to update the system to really good, the amplifiers are really good. The speakers are probably the weakest link. I've got good speaker cable and everything, but I'm not scared to damage these speakers, so I drive them pretty hard. I would really like a set of B&W's front and rear, or even Tannoy speakers, but I've just never got around to updating it. For cleaning, record cleaning, this is my own. I bought the fluid originally, but I replaced it inside with my own mixture of alcohol. I got the alcohol in Poland, which is I think 97% by volume, and then I've put it in here and it cleans records fantastic. I've also got I use lighter fluid occasionally if it's got a more stubborn sort of stain that needs to be dissolved. This is all my vinyl care stuff. I use those strips for tightening out the holes of records, which I'll show you. I should have a few here. If you look closely, this is a Tom Wilson Technocat. It's been played the hell out of, so the hole's got quite loose on it, but if you put the labels in there, it tightens up. It just makes it tracks so much better. It doesn't wobble around, which is really annoying when you're trying to back cue up your record. If it's got a wobbly hole in it, you'll tend to find that the record skips at the start at the most inconvenient times. So yeah, I always have a stack of these near the turntables, and they're from these. I think I got these from a supermarket. Is it maybe the point of sale stickers? Obviously some sellotape, and this is actually ice hockey sock tape. I use it for repairing sleeves. This type of tape is really thick. It doesn't perish or go brittle like sellotape after 20 years. It's more rubbery and gives a very good grip. As you can see, I've got my headphones here. These are, I don't really use these for DJing. These are, what are the Audio-Technica MX, I forget which ones they are, but they're the top of the range ones. They're not that expensive, maybe £200. But these are more monitor speakers, monitor headphones. They're fantastic. These are just a cheap pair of Audio-Technica ones here that I used to use for DJing. And these are just travel ones, little JVC. I think I paid £10 for them. The ones I use most are these Stanton ones. I had a few sets of these, but somebody actually stole them from a club I was playing in. These are the more modern ones, the DJ Pro 2000s. I think these are great headphones, but it's a pity the isolation pads aren't a bit bigger. What people might find annoying now is that it's only the 1/4 inch jack. You can't unscrew it, but I prefer that because all real DJ equipment only has 1/4 inch jack connectors, and I don't use it for portable stereos or anything like that. It's solely for DJing with. I went through a spell maybe 10 years ago using Tractor, but I've since long given up with that. I've still got the Audio 8 there, with intentions of maybe using it again, or if I ever decide to live stream, I'll probably use the Audio 8 DJ as the sound card. It used to go into this laptop. This is a very stripped down version of XP. It boots up in about, I think, less than 30 seconds. Some dicers up there when I used to use Tractor, but I don't use that anymore. I think that's about it really, other than mention this nice little fishing stool, which is excellent for sitting down and organising records that are lower down. I think that's about it. Once I look back the video and if I realise I've missed anything, I might make an update. Anyway, that's my record room. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.